Hey guys, in this video, we're going to discuss how to protect title to your real estate. Okay, let's get started. Hey, now this actually came about because a viewer sent me a question wondering how they can protect title to their property. Now, this is a concern for everyone because there's a lot of information out there or news reports about people having their title stolen from them. And if you're investing in real estate, the more property you buy, well, possibly those chances go up. So what are some things that you can do as a real estate investor to minimize that overall risk? Well, first off, you should check with your county. Now, many counties now have adopted something called property fraud alert, that all you have to do is go to your county recorder's website, look for that term, and if it's there, you can then put in your information about your property, the property itself, and your information. And what the county will do is they will alert you if anything strange is happening with your property outside the normal, paying the taxes and typical transfers. So this is a good first step. Unfortunately, not all counties offer this, okay? More and more are starting to do it, but not all of them do. So then you could possibly look at one of those services such as Home Title Lock to see what they could provide you as far as protecting title. And again, it's all done with this in mind, that I'm going to ensure that if anything happens on that title, I'm going to get notified immediately, or it's going to be prevented from occurring so we don't get too far down the road and then it becomes a huge financial mess for us. Now, the other thing you should be doing, of course, is monitoring your utility bills and statements. So one of the things that happens a lot of times is that people that own real estate, I find they'll set things up on auto pay. And they're paying attention to what's owed, but they're not paying attention to the actual billing itself. And what can happen in those situations is that if it's coming in and say an e-bill and you're paying it, maybe the property address has changed. That is where those bills should be sent, the physical copies. And so by paying attention to that, making sure you're receiving those bills on a monthly basis is one way to catch this as well. Because when people steal title to your real estate, what they're going to do, of course, is transfer over the utilities. If they were to sell that property to someone else, that individual is going to get in there and transfer everything over into their name. And then that's going to notify you, of course, that something is amiss if you're no longer getting the bills or the address on the bills the statements have changed. So monitoring that is important. And that's where a good bookkeeper can come in. If you have somebody that does your books for your limited liability companies, they should be checking on that. The other thing I would focus on too is that when you transfer title to your limited liability company, I've got videos on how to deed it in using the proper form of deed, but taking title I think is important as well. So let's assume that I set up Red Rabbit LLC. And I set up Red Rabbit LLC in Delaware. So it's a Delaware limited liability company because that's where I own my rental real estate. This property's in Delaware. So I have this entity set up. Well, when I transfer title into that limited liability company here, the grantor is going to be Clint. So here's Clint down here on a deed. I'm the grantor. That is the person who is transferring title. And then you have the grantee. That is the person who is receiving title to the real estate. Now, the grantee is going to be this Red Rabbit LLC. And so you may be inclined to put down Red Rabbit Limited Liability Company because that is the entity that is taking title. Well, here's an issue that could come up for you. If you were just to put in Red Rabbit LLC, it might make it easy for someone to step in and fraudulently obtain your title. How could they do that? Well, this Red Rabbit LLC is set up in Delaware, right? Now, does that stop someone for setting up a Red Rabbit LLC in Florida, for instance? So someone goes in, they set up Red Rabbit LLC in Florida. They then approach a buyer with their LLC and say, hey, do you want to buy this property? I own it in Delaware, Red Rabbit Limited Liability Company. They pull up the deed online, title sees that it's Red Rabbit LLC. They trace it back to this Florida entity that has Red Rabbit LLC there. And fraudster here is the one that says, yep, I can sell it. And so they sell it. And so for the appearance purposes, Red Rabbit LLC, it happens to be the Florida LLC Red Rabbit that's selling the property. So the way you prevent this, don't make it easy for people to commit fraud, is when you're deeding the property into the grantee, put Red Rabbit LLC, a Delaware limited liability company. Put that down. All right, so if you put a Delaware limited liability company, there's only one Red Rabbit that can exist in Delaware, and that is your Red Rabbit. And Fraudster isn't going to be able to sell it out of a Florida Red Rabbit because title, whoever looks at it would see that it's supposed to be a Delaware and not a Florida Red Rabbit limited liability company. So those are some of the things that you can use to protect your title. Generally speaking, I tell people, hey, when it comes to protecting title, if there's an aggressive criminal out there that just wants to commit fraud, it's going to be really hard to stop them from doing it. You may want to lien up your properties as well. You can file liens against them. You've seen some of the strategies where I talk about using a friendly lien. If you wanted to go this far, so you have an LLC set up over here in Wyoming, and what you're going to do, here's your property down here, right here. It's in your LLC. Over here, you can file a friendly lien against your property, an encumbrance. And so by having those encumbrances on there, typically the people who hold a lien against a property are going to get notified, because if a buyer comes in and they see all these liens, they may not be willing to buy it. And so, because you've already sucked up all the equity and they don't see any benefit there. So there's things like that you could do as well to try to protect title. But those first few, go check your county. That is the best thing you can do to ensure that if there are any changes, that property fraud alert will alert you, and make sure you deed it the right way. All right, guys, hope you like this video on how to protect your title. If you got any other ideas like that and you want to send them to me or email me or put them in the comments, I would love to hear it, because I'm always looking for things that you're interested in so I can produce more content for you. Take care.